Third round rules again. Everything's doubled. Great take nets you 800 points. A good take 400 points. An okay take 200, and a bad take nothing. So we'll go to, again, we're trying to cater to the whole audience. Again, the final segment. We're not even sure. Maybe Alfred's gonna be, or maybe he's not. If he's able to ace this third round. We're trying to cater to everybody's favorite teams here. So we'll cater to Dalton, he was actually at this game at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Los Angeles Rams beat the Indianapolis Colts yesterday in Lucas Oil Stadium, 29-23, in overtime. PUCA NACUA catches the game-winning touchdown. He's having a remarkable season. 39 catches through the first 4 games of the season. Obviously, the Rams looks like they're going to get some reinforcements with my twin, Cooper Kupp, coming back from injury relatively soon. Obviously, Aaron Donald's playing well. Matthew Stafford, I thought, was excellent in that game against Indianapolis yesterday. So I'll start with you, Alfred. Again, the NFC, I think, is a little bit better than we thought. However, it's at the bottom, it's terrible. So in a somewhat weak NFC, do you think the Rams are Super Bowl contenders?
Super Bowl contenders, no. Do I see them getting a wild card in the playoffs? Yes. I may catch a lot of heat for this, but I think they're the third best team in their division. Obviously, the 49ers are at the top, and I'm going to put the Seahawks above the Rams just because I believe that their wide receiver core of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson and Jigba is a bit better than Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. And we don't know how Cooper Kupp is going to look coming off of this hamstring injury. I mean, granted, also, reason why I say that, the Rams, in their 2 losses, one of those losses was to the Bengals on Monday night. They lost to a hobbled Joe Burrow, who noticeably wasn't even as mobile as he should have been, in a game where he was a game-time decision that almost didn't play. Where I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, the Seahawks they played the Giants, and the Giants are a hideous team." Yeah, but they got 2 other wins at this point in the season. But I don't see the Rams as a Super Bowl contender. They do have a solid roster. Stafford will always be Stafford, one of the better QBs, and yes, he is a better QB than Geno Smith. They won the Super Bowl not that long ago, but a lot of their key Super Bowl pieces are not there anymore. Von Miller's gone. OBJ is gone. And I just haven't. I don't like the way that the Rams have looked. Other than that one game against, ironically, Seattle, they've either had walk-off wins or disappointing losses. So, I mean, Seattle, for what it's worth, those games that they won have not been close. So, and then also you got to take into account the other teams in the NFC. People love the Eagles. The Buccaneers have been a surprise. The Lions are in the mix. I think the Lions and the Eagles and the 49ers have more of a chance of even not even just a Super Bowl, but getting to the NFC title game than the Rams are. But it's still early, so anything can happen. But are they a Super Bowl contender? I don't think so. They'll make playoff. I think they'll get a playoff spot, but no Super Bowl.
That's fair. And again, they did lose a lot of their key contributors last year. And I think San Francisco, I think we would all agree is head and shoulders the best. What's that?
No, and I said Cam Akers is gone too. We don't know if this production from Kyron Robinson will hold up. So anything.
Well, I mean, they did kind of ship Cam Akers to Minnesota for a bag of cookies. So I mean, it's just there's a little bit of truth there. But I'll move to Mike Guido now. Do you think the Rams after their start, again a little uneven, but do you think the Rams do their start are a Super Bowl contender in the NFC?
No, I'm kind of where Alfred is right now also. I don't think that they're a Super Bowl contender. I do think that they're more of a wild card playoff team. And honestly, I think in this NFC, it looks pretty decent for them to be a wild card playoff team, even though that division is going to be, that division's a tough out because San Francisco is obviously tops in the conference right now. Seattle is still very solid. And also, I don't think that Arizona is showing that they're a terrible, terrible football team, along with the likes of the Bears and maybe the Denver Broncos and some of these other teams that are kind of the bottom feeders of the league. So I don't think Arizona's an easy out any week either. But no, I don't think that the Rams are a Super Bowl contender right now. I think the best that they can be is a disruptor in the NFC, right? They played San Francisco very tight a couple of weeks ago. I think that could be a really good designation for them. One of the things that's impressing me about the Rams right now, though, is that they're finally accomplishing something that they really haven't been able to do consistently in years past, and that's run the football. Kyron Williams has been absolutely fantastic for them so far this season. It looks like they finally have found a consistent back that can take some of the pressure off of Matthew Stafford Stafford. So I think that there's something really good there. Obviously, Puka Nakua, what he's doing is fantastic. I never realized how much of a passing resemblance you have to Cooper Kupp. I think that's incredibly funny. But I do think the Rams can be disruptors. I just think that that's all they're going to be. They're solid on both sides of the football. They're not great on either side of the football, but they can do things a little bit differently. You might have to game plan for them a little bit different than you have in years past because of how they can run the football consistently. Now you actually need to guard them in the trenches. I think that there's a legitimate possibility there that they could even win a playoff game. But the NFC to me is very top heavy. It's very San Francisco, Philadelphia. If you want to throw Dallas in that conversation, you can. But right now, I think the NFC is very top heavy, and then it's going to be a bunch of middle tier teams. I think the Rams are kind of fall right there in the middle at some point. Maybe a little bit above average, maybe in the 6 or 7 range in the NFC. Right.
If nothing else, they're certainly the team that if you're like at the 2 or 3 seed, you're like, man, I don't want to play these guys, in the first round. Like I'd rather, maybe like lose that last game of the season, get somebody else who maybe isn't as. I mean, the case for the Rams, I guess, excuse me, would be that you could argue. So let's just put Kyle Shanahan to the side because he's kind of owned Sean McVay. But if you got matchup between Sean McVay and Mike McCarthy, you're taking Sean McVay, and Nick Sirianni. I would take Sean McVay, Dan Campbell. I would take McVay. So you could argue outside of San Francisco, they'll have the better coach in just about any matchup that they would, any potential matchup in the playoffs that they would have. So you make some good points there, Mike. To Adam, now again, as a fan of a team that is I certainly view as a contender. I actually was on y'all's show and predicted the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. Do you see them in a situation where they are where they are contender in the NFC?
As much as I want to say no about the Rams just to make Dalton upset since he's a Rams fan, I have to say that I do believe that they're a contender. I'm a big Cooper Kupp fan. Finally, they have somebody on the other side of the field that can show up with Puka Nakua. I think having Kupp still sit out for most of the season and not rush him back is a good call when we start to look at the back half of the Rams season. They have a fairly decent schedule. They got 2 games against the Eagles. They got the Cowboys, which obviously they're going to get stomped. And Dalton, I'm going to put the invite out to you. By all means, come on to our show and talk about your Rams on our show, and we can interrupt and argue with each other all we want on that show. And then they got the 49ers at the end of the season. So I absolutely think the Rams have a shot. Because we're talking about wild cards. They don't have to guarantee a spot into the playoffs. They just got to make it into the playoffs. And then as Bryson already kind of stole some of our answers, you have Sean McVay, and they've seen the show with lesser talent on the team. So I absolutely do believe the Rams can be a contender because we're seeing a lot of great production in their run game. And when you get Cooper Kupp, regardless of him coming off of an injury, as long as they play it right, you got 2 deadly weapons on the receiving side. So, yeah, I think they're a contender.
Yeah, I'm looking. Excuse me. If you treat Cooper Kupp's, if the Rams treat Cooper Kupp's health a lot better than the Bengals are treating Joe Burrow's health, then they should be in good shape if he's 100% ready to go. Finally, to you, Dalton. Again, you're the Rams fan here, and again, you were at the game yesterday. Do you see your Los Angeles Rams as a Super Bowl contender in the NFC?
Yeah, I have a few comments and I have an answer for you. So I'll start with the commentary. The commentary is in our production meeting. I thought the question was going to be contender as a generalized term and not Super Bowl contender. And I think that's an important difference. To me, Super Bowl contender, I don't think the word Super Bowl around the Rams should really be used much at all. There just isn't enough talent there, nor have they proven anything to suggest that they belong anywhere near the Super Bowl discussions. That being said, this is a team sitting at 2-2 right now. They're going to be almost certainly favored in at least 8 games down the stretch. You could make an argument that they might end up favored in 10 of their games, depending on how big of a believer you are in the Browns heading out to the West Coast. And I think they sneakily might be a favorite Week 18 against San Francisco because San Francisco is going to be sitting everybody in that game. So I think realistically there is a path to the Rams winning 11 or 12 games. I'm not saying that happens, but it's there. To address Alfred, this idea that the Seahawks are better than the Rams because he likes their receiving core better, we're not playing fantasy football. We're playing football on the actual gridiron. There's more than just receivers out there running routes. This is not 7-man. I think that's a ridiculous angle to go at the take from. The Rams own that series with the Seahawks. They show it over and over. They showed it to begin this season. The other games they play against each other, the other game they play against each other this year will be at SoFi. Not that that's a big home field advantage anyway. Also, Adam, the Rams do not play the Eagles twice. They never play the Eagles twice in a season. Just something to point out there. So, look, the schedule breaks decently well for them. I think the offense is okay. The offensive line has looked better than expected. The reality for the Rams is they cannot sustain any injuries. If anybody gets hurt, they're in trouble. They have no depth on that roster. But if they stay healthy, sure. They could make a little run toward the playoffs, maybe win a playoff game. They're not making the Super Bowl.
I think we found the newest rivalry on in sports debate. It's not Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. It is Adam Bessie and it is Dalton Brown. We found a new. Y'all gotta make this, Adam. Y'all gotta get something lined up on the Cam Fan show sometime soon. Have Dalton. That'll be so when the Cowboys play the Rams. I think in a few weeks. That'll be something else. I think we got a new rivalry. Forget Alabama, Auburn. Forget all the no. This is the rivalry in all of sports right now. Ton of comments right here. Let's see. Oh man, Sincere Brown is not a fan of you, Alfred. He says Alfred just got humbled. That's rough. I don't know about that. But let's see. Seahawks have depth. Drew Lock entered the game, and they got led to a touchdown. If Stafford goes down, it's over. Cowboys can't fan the comments. We don't need Dalton on our show crying when they get blown out. Okay, shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Okay. There you go. Your guys are taking up for you, Adam. There you go. This is awesome. Okay, so let's see. Alfred went first, so I'll start with Alfred. Solid take in the Los Angeles Rams. I'll give you a good take in that regard. Solid take in terms of what they have. They did obviously lose a lot of their pieces. But you mentioned the running game. You mentioned the fact that against Stafford is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I actually you guys are going to think I'm nuts here. You especially Dalton. I actually think the gap between not from a talent perspective, just from a production standpoint, the gap between Geno and Stafford isn't as big as some people might lead you to believe. But listen, Stafford is working with less in fairness, so I'll give you that. Let's see. Mike Guido in second. Again, the hot streak just continues. The hot streak continues for Mike Guido. I like what you said about they're not a contender, but they're a disruptor. I think that's an interesting point to make in terms of, again, like I mentioned, the way I interpreted what you said is they're the team you don't want to play in the wild card round of the playoffs. A division winner like a Dallas, Detroit, or maybe a Philly or San Francisco wouldn't want to face as their first opponent of the playoffs. So once again, Mike, great take. Listen, you're on fire. You can't stop him right now. Okay, you can't stop him. Let's move to let's see, Adam. Great take, Adam. As a great take. You mentioned they're Super Bowl contenders this year because of the coaching matchup with Sean McVay. Again, sort of the head-to-head. Coaching to me is more important in football with respect to baseball and basketball. Obviously, football's more important. Coaching is more important in football to me than any other sport. Look at the Miami Dolphins with Tua, with Mike McDaniel since he's come there and the difference that has made. There's plenty of other examples we could look at. So. Great take on your part, Dalton. I'm not gonna lie to you, or not Dalton. I'm sorry, Adam. Adam, good take by Adam. Dalton, I'm not gonna lie to you. Good take, but I'm gonna dock you some points because of the fact that you're out here taking shots at everybody on the network. You're taking shots at Adam, taking shots at Alfred. I don't know why you didn't go after Mike. That was very weird. I guess you agree with Mike and what he's saying, but shots fired. We don't do that. Okay, friendly conversation. We don't take shots. Okay.
I thought shots fired was the whole reason we were here. Mike didn't say anything verifiably incorrect, so I didn't go at Mike.
That's subjective, sir. That is subjective.
Dalton's my boy, man. He can't take shots at me.
Whatever.
Personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct.
So that means exactly, Alfred. So that means, let me look at our point totals to make sure I got this down. That means our two finalists will be Mike Guido, of course, because again he's had a perfect score, and Adam Bessie from the Cowboys Can Fan Podcast. These two will be moving on to the final round. Alfred, Dalton, well, I'll start with you, Alfred. Your reaction. Last time you were on here, you actually won. Your reaction to not making the final round.
No baseball talk, and the playoffs started today, but I'll be back.
Agreed. We need baseball talk.
This has got to be the most irrelevant wild card round I can remember in my life. Anyways, to the Astros and Braves are going to go to the World Series.
The Red Sox are not in it, right?
Stop. Okay, how the Mets doing? Dalton, your thoughts to being eliminated?
I mean, I'm fine with it. It is what it is. I said what I needed to say. I went at people when they needed to be gone at. I mean, we're sitting here making up fake point spreads between the Cowboys and Cardinals. We're making up scheduling with the Rams with them playing the Eagles. I don't know what we're doing. So I'm going to continue to call people out when I hear things like that. Also, this wild card series is not irrelevant. This is baseball. Anything can happen. We can save that debate for another time, but I don't want to hear anything like that. That's nonsense.
The Astros are winning the American League, and the Braves are winning the National League. Sorry about your Dodgers.